Alright, welcome back to SOS. I'm Stats Arm Badass.
Sippy cup.
And tonight's bum bum bum. Dun dun
Dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun.
You gonna do your.
Hi, Nina. Hi, Bruce. Hi, Finger Lakes. Hi, Wesses. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Diggers. Hi, Gary. Hi, Zachary. Hi, Purple Bear. Hi, Scooter. And I don't know. I can't see anybody else. Andrew. Silver Supplement. Yeah.
Let me pull it up closer.
Mickey Murray.
There we go.
I already said hi to Gary.
Okay.
Low budget survival. Try and survive. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Well,
thank you, Diggers.
Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you very much.
I think I got my finger caught on my cage.
Don't flip people off.
I did not.
The LA prepper, he freaking dug. Yeah.
Thank you, Diggers. We love you.
He's not flipping. Just ignore him. Garrett Outdoors. Hey, buddy, I haven't seen you in a while. Hi, Texas Prepper, Redneck Mafia, Kenneth, Matthew, Christian, Phil Jean, JP, Dad on YouTube, Lakeisha, hello. Hi, Miss Dawson One, and Night Watch, and John, and yeah, all you out there, hello.
All right. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
How's everyone doing tonight?
Hi, John. Hi, Savage. Hi, Normal. Hi, Jim Gillespie. Hi, Poor Georgia Prepper and Chris.
It's okay.
Inspired John. Mel Dog. Boom.
So last week we didn't get to come on. The kids were sick. We had to take them in.
Hi, thank you. I was sick.
Yeah, and Sippy was sick, and everyone here was sick, but me. I was the only one not sick.
Yeah.
And we had to take the kids to get them looked at and stuff, and then we did antibiotics, and we found out Ellie's body does not agree with amoxicillin. Thank you, Backwoods Law. Boom.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you, brother.
Tell Faye we said hi. Thank you, Mickey.
Leonard. What, it was amoxicillin?
Amoxicillin. It was a very strong dose of amoxicillin combined with something else I can't pronounce, but yeah, it's no good for Ellie. Luckily, she didn't have anaphylactic shock. Her throat didn't close up, thank goodness, but it was just a really bad hive, red.
Thank you, Jay. Boom.
Hello, buddy. I didn't see you.
Thank you, brother. All right, so
thank you, Frank.
She had this allergic reaction to the antibiotics, and instantly, it was a matter of a few days, and.
No, she finished her dose after 10 days, and then it was the day after her last day. Thank you, Picola Pilot. I haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're well. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then all of a sudden, I was out dropping off the spaghetti at the church because this happened Friday.
Yeah.
And you called and said she just ruptured.
Yeah, she was covered in like hives. It was different blotches, like large circles and then very small dots, and those circles were all over the place. She was itching, and she came running to me, and she was itching all over the place, and it just happened, and it was just random and out of the blue. She just started itching, and I was like, "Well, come here," and I lifted her shirt up, and you could see all around her tummy was these little circles all over the place. And then I started looking further, and they were running all the way up her arm and all down her legs, and they were just all over the place. So she took her in and got her on a steroid.
Yeah, I was thinking they're going to probably do a steroid. Yeah. And they said Benadryl. So, yep. It's better now.
So basically, we've had a pretty crazy
rescue boss
week and a half or so. So we've been pretty busy with that craziness, and now that everybody's getting better, we can kind of get back to normal. So that's good.
Thank you for all the birthday wishes. I told them not to say anything.
Sippy told me not to say anything.
Celebrate after 30.
I just kind of let it slip to a couple of people there. Thank you, FLP. You are awesome,
Thank
brother.
you.
And
I
I want
really
to say,
appreciate you, buddy.
I
Thank
love
you.
your new rifle setup. I love that chassis. It's very awesome. Like I said in your post, it's bodacious. That is a bodacious rifle, my friend. Uh, Very bodacious. Hey, that's a word. I actually looked it up to make
Thank
sure it
you,
was still
Leonard.
a word.
Is it still high T4?
Yes. No, it's not
Lord.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure or Bogus Journey. I actually looked up bodacious. After I said that, I said, wait, is bodacious actually a word?
Hmm.
And it actually is a word, and it means describing something
Thank you,
of
Brandon.
extreme awesome, basically, I guess.
Yeah.
But bodacious is a word. I did not know that. Um, let's see. Do you want to get into the topic tonight? Do you want me
Yeah.
to?
I. It doesn't matter.
Do you want to do your topic? You've been kind of into this for a while. It's a
Yeah, we'll
really.
switch it up and have me talk
You want to
first.
do the first half and then I'll do some second half.
Sure.
Chaos Road. The road to chaos. I'll do a brief
Yeah,
description
you go
and
for
then
it.
and we'll touch back on this. We'll flip back and forth
Yeah.
between Sippy and I. She's got some medical stuff and I've got some just total doomsday stuff. So recently I did a book review
Thank you, Kevin.
on the book Going Home, and that's from That's by A American, and I did the entire book review um, just a few days ago. I sat down and went through this thing, and a lot of people had rave reviews of the book. They love a couple of books from the series, but they don't like the entire series. Now, I picked out just one section of the book that really caught my attention that I felt needed to be highlighted that we could talk about here tonight. And I think it's probably the most important scene of the book. To be honest with you, I think it's the most important scene of all out of the entire book. And that's the scene where, um, yet on Patreon. Thank you, El. Yeah, on Patreon, um, I do live feeds on there, and when I'm there, I focus on book reviews for different people and
Thank you,
stuff. Thank you,
Kenneth.
Kenneth. You're awesome.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Tin
Ten
Bear.
Bear, thank
Ba
you,
boom.
everybody. Thank you so
That is a
much.
big happy birthday.
I deeply appreciate
I
it. Thank
just
you.
recently
You guys are
reviewed.
awesome. Thank you.
Uh, I like to book review, so I basically I sit down and I kind of power read. I read a bunch of books. I'm constantly reading books, and it's a lot of survivalist books. At the moment, I am reading the Combat Hunters program, and that's Left of Bang. I'm rereading it because I read it while I was in the Marine Corps, and it was on I believe it was on a reading list. I'm not sure. I think it would think it was for certain groups. It was on a
Oh, there's a kid.
yeah, the kid's running. I think it was on a Sippy will be back. I think it was on a reading list for me to read. So I read it before and I'm rereading it now. Thank you, Jim. Ba boom. You are awesome. Um, I really appreciate it. I was reading this and it's actually recommended by General Mattis, and his recommendations. He's actually got a few quotes that he's added to that book. But Left of Bang is a great book, and I just recently did Pastor Joe Fox. I did his book. I read the entire book, Pastor Joe Fox, Viking Preparedness, The Survivalist Family, uh, Prepared Americans for a Strong America. I want to make sure I got that right. But like I said when I did the review, there are copyrights to the book. So I just wanted to do, in my own words, my interpretation of the book. So I actually did that on Patreon as well. But these are just things that I like to do. I really like reading, and if anybody wants to know about some good books, I've got like a little reading list I'm probably going to put together for people out there that. But I'm digressing. I'm running all over the place, and I don't want to keep you guys waiting on it. But I Uh, if you're looking for this book, remember, I'm not promoting his book or anything. I'm just telling you, if you are going to buy this book, do not buy it from Amazon. Please don't. They rob you. They're gonna rob him. They're gonna rob you. So get it from Barnes and Noble or something like that. Get it from somewhere else. Don't get it from them. Amazon, oh, man, they rob people. It's like the shipping and everything else. So I try and get it from a different source, from an actual bookstore. So I spend a lot of time in the bookstore. All right. One of the scenes that caught my attention from the book Going Home by A. American was the scene where there's a couple leaving town. There's a male and a female. They're together and they're leaving town. And if you're familiar with if you're familiar with that book, there's been an EM. Oh no, not the Tea Party thing.
Yeah.
There's been an EMP or CME. I'll let you read the book to discover what all's happened in that story. But anyways, basically, no, not a lot of electronics are working at this point, and this couple is leaving town, and he's got his get home bag, and in his get home bag is a little bit more severe. And if you like gear, it describes all sorts of gear in that book. Well, he's got his gear, he's geared up, and he's walking down the road. He's already done several side quests at this point. But he gets down the road and he runs into this couple. This is the point of the whole thing. This couple, the guy kind of waves to him and they come to a stop and they're there on the roadside. And he asks, "Have you got any water?" They need some water. And all he had was this little inexpensive little water bottle, like some dashiki water or something like that. I can't remember. It was, what's that fancy one with the picture in the background of?
Brita.
I don't remember. Anyways, it's a fancy water. All right, so it's empty, and they're asking for water, and all they had was that one little water, and
Carbonated water.
and
Crystal water.
it's just water. Um,
Sprinkle fairy water.
this is going to be a very long story, but the girl is uh, very uppity and very, what's the word that you said earlier that nailed it? It wasn't
Entitled.
entitled, but entitled was the first word, but I think it was entitled, and that's the word that I stuck with. But
Fiji water.
Fiji. I think it
Yeah.
was, yes, a Fiji
There you
water.
go,
That's right.
Lakeisha.
I couldn't remember the name of the water bottle, but anyway, it was like a Fiji water bottle, and it was empty, and she needed a refill. And uh, and the guy asked Morgan, the main character of the story, asked the couple, "Is this the only water bottle the two of you have between each other?" And it's a total disaster. I mean, this is total chaos, and these people have nothing. They have like just Wes is like H2O. Uh, it's total chaos, and all they have is this little Fiji water bottle, and they're not wearing proper clothing. You know, I'm going to get to that in a minute, but they're not wearing proper clothing for any kind of disaster, and they're walking from this town. And so basically he offers, you know what, it's water. So he's like, all right. So he busts out one of his 2-quart canteens and starts filling their water bottle up, and he starts refilling it and let them hydrate. And he refills it some more, and they hydrate some more. So he's got them pretty hydrated. He tops off their water bottle. He puts his 2-quart canteen away, and he starts putting his stuff together. And then they're like, doing the whole, "You got any food? You got something else?" and all this stuff. And then starts going on about the water bottle, and Morgan tells them, because they literally look, the chick looks at Morgan and says, "Hey, you should give us one of your water bottles." And Morgan says, "No, I'm not giving you one of my water bottles. I need all three." She says, "But you've got three different," because he's got a Camelback and two water and two-quart canteens. And she's like, "You should give us one of those. You should help us. You know, you should help us." And she's entitled to one of those canteens. She's telling him to give up one of the canteens, and the character in the story says, "Hey, like it is in the times that we're living in." Hey, Gary.
Hey, Gary.
In the times that we're living in today, you need to look after you,
Hey, Deborah.
and you need to start taking care of yourself. And if you need another water bottle, to grab one of these empty water bottles on the side of the road, because and then the girl's like, "Ew, a trash bottle?" And he said, "Yes, a bottle on the side of the road. You should grab one of those and start using it to carry more water." What you writing down over there? Some crazy stuff.
Oh, just notes. Someone's just asking you if you read Lights Out by David Crawford.
I don't know if I have. It sounds familiar though. All right,
We'll
so
log it. We're gonna log
yeah,
that.
we'll log
Check it
it.
out.
Yeah. Uh, but she tells her boyfriend to take it from him, and the boyfriend and Morgan make eye contact, and he instantly decides, you know what, this is probably a bad idea
Hi, Paul.
because this guy's going to lose his life over a water bottle, basically. Because if you see kind of how the story's going, Morgan's already had to take down a couple of
Thank you,
people.
Tom.
Thank you, M1.
Thank you.
Boom.
M1A1A Abrams. Thank all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
But she felt like she was entitled to that water bottle. And the thing is, the story of this. Uh, let me go through my notes real quick because I wrote down my notes before I come on. The thing is that it isn't just about the water bottle incident. It's that these there's a lot of people in the world. We need to keep in mind there's a lot of people in the world that can easily just dial. This is off the books. Totally off the book now. I'm sidetracking now. I'm side quest for me. I don't think I'm going to go back to the book for a few minutes, but
Stay tuned.
stay tuned. So basically, there's a lot of people in the
Hey,
world
50 caliber.
um, that do feel entitlement. Okay, they do feel entitlement because of look what has happened to society. Look what had this. Um, Look what I mean. Not just in our country, but in other countries. Look at this. How we have developed this need for assistance and getting it instantly. Like 911, for example. You can call 911 and help is on the way. They come with trucks, gear, and everything else. You need to be brought back to life. They got you. They stitch you up. They do whatever. If someone's attacking you, they jump in to arrest someone. It's they have that sense of security, right? And side
Hi,
quest.
Keith.
Gotta have a side quest, Savage. So I gotta have that sense of security. They've lived that way for so long. They can just go to Walmart.
Thank you for
They
your
can
label.
go, in a world that's normal. If someone said, "Hey, we're going to be living this way in the next couple of days," someone could just go and grab a couple of things from Walmart real quick, and
Yes.
it's all a planned thing and it's all for fun. But and unless they're forced to live that way. But the thing is, what would happen to society if everyone was forced into this primitive way of life just like that? This primitive, there's nothing coming back. There's no more Walmart, Piggly Wiggly, nothing. There's nothing there for you anymore. It's all gone.
Bye bye,
Or,
Costco Pizza.
oh man, or it's controlled by local officials, the officials that are in charge of that city, that town. What if that city and that town is in charge of all this stuff now? They're in charge of what's left of the Walmart. Hey Trey, they're in charge of.
Hey, Trey.
They basically uh, basically deputize, militialize groups of people to work with law enforcement and secure what buildings that have supplies that are left. What if they secure everything? Your Walmart, your Piggly Wiggly. I'm just naming a few. I've got to say Piggly Wiggly. I don't know why I like saying it. They've got to secure your Kroger. They're going to secure your Food Lion. Yeah, that's California stuff, I guess. What's another one that's a good one to say? They
Sam's
secured
Club.
your Sam's Club. There you go. Your Pizza Hut.
Your AutoZones.
All that.
All
Anyways,
that.
AutoZone too. Yeah.
Hey, Crown
They
Royal.
secure all the supplies that they have left in the town, all the resources. They secure all of that. And basically, you have to have a need, right? And you would have to walk to a distribution center, that's heavily
Again.
guarded and literally have a reason and permission to take certain items, like, i.e., a sleeping bag or a Coleman lantern or a pocket knife or whatever it is. What if, in order to keep law and order, they have to disarm all the citizens so there's no violence in the street between other members of the community? Hey, that's my Costco pizza. You want to bet that's your Costco pizza? And then he draws his 45 and smoke checks Billy right there on the spot and takes his Costco pizza back. To avoid all that, what if they disarm everybody in the town? These are things to consider and think about that would happen in these type of events. What would happen to your town? But the thing is that these people that are, what is it, entitled?
Mm-hmm.
These people that feel entitled will go from town, city to city, walking. They will realize they have to walk. And they'll be walking and draining resources. And these locals in these town areas are basically, it's they're going to come there. These wanderers, these drifters, are going to come wandering in, and they're going to offer them food. They're going to offer them water. Stay is good for a little while, and then things start to get crazy. And I mean, this is a couple of days into a scenario like this. This is going to happen. You're going to get people coming off the freeways,
Hey, Johnny.
wandering into towns and cities and all this stuff. They're going to wander in and start sucking out the resources from that town. And they're going to give them supplies, food, or whatever. But then things are going to get shaky. Uh, the drifters are basically going to start feeling. Um, they're going to start. What was
What's
my
that word for 200?
resentment?
There
They're
we
going to
go.
start having resentment for the way they're being treated and dealt with. That's the word I put down. They're going to start having resentment for the locals because of the way they're being treated. You can only have one Snicker bar. You cannot take two, but I want to. No, now you can only have half. You can have half of it. See, that's how it's going to be. The distribution of things, it's going to be very limited. They're not going to like how they're being treated, so they're going to cause a fuss. Then they're going to be told to leave by the officials because these wanderers that the entitled uh, the entitlement style people are going to go wandering in there, going straight to the officials and asking for help. Then they're kicked out of that town. They go to the next one. They go straight to the officials, ask for help. Then basically, um, but yeah.
But yeah.
See what I mean? It's going to be a vicious cycle. They're basically just going to start sucking the resources dry. And that's kind of what I put for that. But this is a situation that has to be thought about because you're going to start running into people that are desperate, that don't, they're going to look at you and say, but God knows what else you have in that bag. What else is in that bag? Get him, Billy. And then they're going to start trying to take down the lone person that's walking on the road. Get him. He's got 3 sources of water, and he's got three different types of water bottles. We don't know what else is inside that bag. There's probably food. There's stuff for shelter in that bag. possibilities, right? Well, we can take him. There's two of us. There's one of him. That could be the case. We've got nothing.
Hi, Matt Blackwood.
They're gonna look at him and say, we've got nothing. You could at least give us that. You know.
Glad you made it, buddy. Yeah, I
And
think that's an important thing to kind of factor in is, when you get somebody like that, and then you can kind of feel them out and saying, well, I'm not going to give you this, but I'll show you how you can work for it. And if they're willing to work and learn new skills and actually take the time to do for themselves, then that could be another factoring in of maybe having somebody else stay and join you. But if they're going to be entitled, like you said, then it's like, yeah, if you
yeah,
don't even want to try and
it's like, see you, lady.
be lazy,
Yeah,
bye.
you're gonna have to go.
Mm-mm.
But he filled their water containers. He asked nothing in return, and basically looked at them and said, "Look, lady, I already helped you. I filled your water bottle, and the kind of people that you're going to meet after me are grade A predators, and they're not going to be as helpful as I am. And you should be grateful that I filled your water container for you and let you drink some of my water, you know, instead of trying to take, right? And makes you wonder how people are going to react to this, right? Do they just sit down? Like if something happened instantly right now today, I mean, the power just went down. I mean, would they investigate? Most people in my neighborhood don't even go outside when they hear their dogs barking. What are they barking at? You know?
Well, you become accustomed to noises and stuff like that,
Well,
and you
it's
just,
anything, any type of weird activity outside their home. They won't even go outside. There's a lot of people like that these days. They just don't even go check. They don't challenge anything. They just
yeah.
accept it for the way it is. They don't challenge anything anymore. Um, but what do you think they're going to do? They're just going to sit down and wait, ask for help. You think they're just going to sit there and cry for help? Hey, I'm just sitting here.
Send smoke signals.
I don't know if I should walk. My car doesn't work. Can you help us? I need some Costco pizza or something.
I
Um,
thought you said Picasso pizza.
but people are going to start flowing into cities in waves and waves by the second day, man. By the second day, when help didn't show up, no one's coming for them. They're just going to start wandering aimlessly, man. They're going to start walking and just walking to wherever, looking for aid, looking for that person. Scouting Hill in 20 minutes. Fine. That's a good thing. LA Prepper, definitely. You want to have some kind of visual looking post there. I need myself some towers or something.
Hey, Nani.
Um, but people are going to start wandering into these towns, about the second day or so. No one showed up, no
Yes, Mark.
activity. People are wandering wherever, and then they're going to hit the road. Then they're going to start walking beside so and so and walking beside so and so else. And a lot of people are going to a lot of people are just going to get robbed, and they won't even realize it. They're going to get panhandled for items that are not money related because cash is useless in this type of society. They're just going to get panhandled. Well, we've got nothing.
Thank you, Nani.
They're going to get panhandled for a lot of items that are in their bag or kit. But you've got two pots. You've
Thank you, Carl.
you've already got two pots. You've got two ferro rods. Why do you need two ferro rods? I need one. You know, yeah, but what about that little pocket knife? You could at least give me that little pocket knife, right?
Yeah.
But why do you need two guns? I need a gun.
Two guns here.
I need a gun. Give me a gun. But that's the kind of things you're going to run into, and it's kind of like panhandling. That's pretty much what these folks are going to be doing out there on the road like that. But I ain't got nothing. Help me. Um,
Thank you.
but that's um, but that's kind of part of my things to think about. We can touch on this some more here in a minute if you want. I didn't want to go too long into that part of this, and then.
That's good
Uh,
stuff.
uh, but I'm curious to hear some of this information that you gather. I mean, You do a lot of gathering all the time for stuff like this to help us.
I do. I love learning about the body and how it functions and how it interacts with drugs and stuff. And I love my pharmacology class. I've been learning a lot. Um, and the thing that kind of, okay, that got me a little upset. Every time if I hear a comment or see a comment, something that's like totally just off whack, off the dead trail that could get somebody killed or hurt, I have to correct it. Because I get so upset because anything I say, I always double check, triple check, know that, that is the correct information that's being put out there. And I heard somebody, I've heard around, and then I've read comments where people say you can substitute some stuff for iodine tablets. Oh my goodness. Let's just go there, all right? Because this is serious stuff, people. Okay. Especially in the event of nuclear fallout for whatever happened. So, we're going to talk about what is the thyroid? What does it do? That's where we're going to start.
It's a good question.
Okay. So you have your pituitary gland in your brain, and that basically it's like your little sensory level. Like, when your gas tank starts getting low, and then your light comes on. It's like, hey, you got to get a refill. Well, it's like your pituitary gland. It's like, hey, you got to stimulate some hormones to keep your body all in homeostasis, which is a fancy word for staying alive, staying all right. So um, when your pituitary gland sends that signal down to your thyroid is in charge of almost every single tissue in body's metabolism. Every cell that gets sent in through your body is getting metabolized by these thyroid hormones, your T3 and your T4. So that what that does is it regulates your body temperature, it regulates your heart rate, and it breaks down your carbohydrates. Um, it breaks down and rebuilds and helps motivate your protein synthesis with which is really important because that's like it's protein synthesis directs your new DNA strands and stuff. And oh my gosh, you talk about a boring thing, protein synthesis. When I had to try and learn about that crap, I was like, I had to just like go over and over because it was just so boring and tedious about amino acids. And oh my gosh, anyways. But so it's really important. And um, make sure I'm not forgetting anything here. Oh, and it also, determines like your oxygen consumption in your tissues. So when you hear people say, the most common thing is like hypothyroidism. People tend to be heavier, and they say, "Well, I got hypothyroidism," which that means it's low. Hypo is low, so basically, their metabolism is slow. So yes, that is a reason why they could be overweight, and it can be a serious thing because you can get what they called myxoedema, and basically you're going to have a very low pulse rate, and you're going to get severe swelling in your face and in your eyelids. You're going to be cold because your body's not producing that heat when it's metabolizing. Thank you,
Thank you,
Nani.
Nani.
Appreciate you.
Boom.
Thank you very much. Love you. And what else? They're going to be a little bit lethargic and out of it. And for kids, if it's severe enough, it definitely interferes with their mental and physical growth. And and then you have the people on the opposite scale, which they get hyperthyroid, and then they're really skinny people, but guess what? They got bulging eyeballs, and they get very sweaty and hot because their body keeps metabolizing on just like an increased basis. So that's their problem. They probably got a lot of BO and stuff they have to deal with too. But so for if somebody's hypothyroid, what they treat him with now is levothyroxine sodium. So Okay, that's just basically the gist of your uh, thyroid gland there. So, iodine. So, what happens is when your body ingests iodine from whatever it is you're eating, especially, we all know it's like in shellfish and stuff, it turns into iodide, which is an organic version of iodine. And so the iodide in turn creates the T3 and the T4 hormones, which is what needs to go out into your bloodstream and regulate and control all the metabolism work in your body. So when you get a radiation fallout, the radioactive iodine that seeps into your pores, through your skin or even just like inhaling. If you don't have your iodine, um, basically what it does is your iodine tablets will, when you ingest it, it's going to saturate into your thyroid gland. And your thyroid gland's like a sponge, and it's going to absorb it until it can't take anymore. So that's why you take the proper amounts of iodine, because if you keep taking more and more and more just to be on the safe side, well, you don't have to worry about a safe side. All you're going to do is create more toxicity in your body, because now instead of it getting absorbed in your thyroid, you're just dumping it into your bloodstream and into your liver and all that stuff. So now that you have your iodine into your thyroid gland, guess what? That radioactive iodine can't get in there, and it can't destroy and basically demolish your thyroid gland, because if it does that, your thyroid can't heal itself like the liver can actually regenerate itself and heal itself, just depending on the level of damage, and it's going to take some time. That's not going to happen with your thyroid, and you can't get that back. So for people who are going to say, well, you can substitute it with iodinized salt and all this crap, you got to be careful. I know you cannot substitute it with salt, especially because there's more salt components than iodine. So if your body is ingesting more salt, you're going to throw your body into whack, because now you're going to be was it hypertonic, which means you're going to have more solutes in your cells than water, because your body needs an equal balance of water and solutes in your cells. So basically, you're going to get what we call hypernatremia, which is an increased level of sodium, and that's going to throw your body into whack. You're going to have dry skin, dry tongue, you're going to get nausea, you're going to get vomiting, you're going to get muscle twitching, and basically, you're going to have seizures and go into a coma and die. So, no, you cannot substitute iodine tablets with iodinized salt, fancy table salt, or kosher salt, or I think that was it. Pretty much any kind of salt. You can't do it.
There's a question from a viewer, and
Oh,
you
sorry.
were flowing, and I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm sorry if you had to wait for the question to be asked.
Hmm.
Uh, what if they are allergic to iodine?
I don't know.
That's just another. I didn't think.
If you're allergic to iodine hardcore, I don't know. You have to research that one.
Yeah, that's something. That's a whole nother side topic right there. What if you're
Hmm.
allergic to iodine?
Will it kill your kidneys too? your your increase of salt? Yeah, I mean it's not gonna. I can't remember. I don't know what Alan's really asking. What will kill your kidneys? But um,
Uh, will kill your kidneys too. That's what. That's what Alan said. Will kill your kidneys too. That's the reply. I don't know what he's replying to. He might be in a conversation with somebody. I think he's probably referring to the salt, possibly.
well, I mean, basically, what you're doing is it's just throwing your body out of whack, because you're not. Um,
Seaweed equals iodine, right?
yes, people actually. Sorry.
Okay.
In Asia, they did take seaweed for their iodine, and like I've said before, it's in shellfish because of the salt. So yes, you can do seaweed. It's just no, thank you.
Water helps.
Um, I don't know exactly though how much you would ingest. That would be a good thing for to look up is the measurements of how much seaweed or shellfish would take for your body to actually turn it into the iodide. I'm not sure. So that's a good thing to look up.
It's crazy how much stuff in plant life you can find. It's like the one plant we were finding to treat something else. I couldn't remember what it was, but it's uh, for antibiotics and stuff like that. We were looking up some other interesting things.
Mm-hmm. Gray Man, they come, the iodine tab bottles, it tells you. And you can go on
Yeah,
CDC and they'll tell you. Hydrate Scott,
it tells you exactly
children,
children
infants.
need this much and how often to take. It's got all that on there so that you don't take too much of it. Because I mean, for children like from like Charlie's age on, they literally just take a fraction of one. You just break it in half, pretty much. But that goes with uh, all the different types of tablets out there. The NKO or the KO3, I think is one of them, and then there's a few other ones. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Jabroni, I haven't really had time to look into the um, pectin thing, but I will do
yeah,
that now because my final exam, like that's combined all my classes into one, is on Tuesday.
yeah. The pectin's on the list for things to look up.
But I really want to get in and do antibiotics next weekend. I want to try and do that and talk about all that fun stuff.
But we were talking about pectin in canning
Mm-hmm.
rituals, and remember when we did like canning? What we were canning jams and jellies and things like that, and you can do an if you don't want to use pectin, there was a technique for not using pectin. It was basically you have to stir it a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty much the case if you didn't use pectin. You had to use lemon juice, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. That
Lemon,
just decreases the sweetness and it helps
the
preserve
vitamin
it more.
C, the vitamin C from the lemon juice, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Was that right? I believe that was right with the
Yeah, you can do that
if
with
you can do
the lemon juice.
because you can can without pectin. You don't have to have pectin.
Yeah.
Uh, it's just a longer process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 50 caliber. I'm sure. Yeah, you want to consume a little bit of salt, not too much, because like I said, that salt's gonna push out the waters in your cell, and you're not gonna have really any water in your cells, and that's really gonna screw your body up. Just like they said, you can technically drink a little bit of salt water at a time, and you'll be okay. Just a little bit. We're talking like teaspoons, but yeah. Jagawagon,
Uh,
thanks.
Back with laws, like it's like you gotta love. She gives the biological reasons for not using salt, and some jackwagon says use salt.
Hi, Adam.
What a bonehead! Oh man, it happens, man. It happens. She'll give all the data and all the information, and it's still like, yeah, that happens a lot. Especially in the videos that she does, the medical videos and things like that. She'll lay it all out there, and then, of course, it just happens. It's life. It's life. We've gotten used to it.
Potassium salts are not the same compound.
This is good. We're just kind of taking a moment here, and then we can jump back into some more topics if you guys want. Um, Anything else? Are there natural replacements for synthetic thyroid meds? That's more research. There's a lot of stuff that will have to be researched. It's totally different
Oh, that
topics.
yeah, that stinks, Tibor. That's another number one cause for Hypothyroidism is when people have to get their radiation treatments done.
Yep.
Because at least with hyperthyroidism, all they do is remove, because you have four little glands. They look like Skittles, where all the hormones are produced, and they can remove a gland or two here, and then those people would be fine. They would just get to their levels. But yeah, when you go hypothyroidism, it's really hard to come back from that.
I'm talking to someone on Twitter that's just gone through a lot of chemo and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, and they're telling me about their struggles this week and what they're going through, and I'm just I don't know. We were talking about all kinds of stuff from, uh,
Mm.
but
Yeah, my heart goes out to people who have to endure the chemo,
mm-hmm,
because I mean, you don't really think about all the other organs that it affects and comes to play, and how it really screws your body up. And yeah, sure, you might get rid of the cancer, but you got to live with a lot of crap afterwards.
yeah,
A lot of
it's
effects.
and like the saying goes, right? Cancer sucks. Isn't
Yeah.
that what everybody says? Cancer sucks,
Yeah.
and anyone going through that, and but yeah, it's it's always good to chat with people going through those experiences and learning from them what they're going through because we really have no idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Skittles, pox, T-Pigs, get out of
Skittles
here.
box.
They're not contagious either, right?
All right, but the new
HF
I guess I'll
Schlachtenblogger.
go back into some just kind of random stuff that I'm doing around here. There's uh, so so like I said, I'm currently reading Left of Bang,
Good night, Trey.
the Combat Hunters program, and I've read it before, and I'm just basically rereading it. But to kind of sum up without going into the mental jargon that the book does put out, because if you're familiar with books that are pertaining to a survival mindset, the aware and prepared individuals. If you're familiar with stuff like that, hey, my friend showed up. Um, if you're familiar with that type of stuff with Left of Bang, it's it goes to you have uh, you have Bang, which is the event. Let's this kind of break down what this style is. But you have Bang, which is your event. Say there's a robbery taking place or something like that, or or something that could happen, right? Something that could happen, and right of Bang is basically you getting in the way of Bang, being in the middle of Bang, the event, and then left of Bang is avoiding the event. So that's kind of the meaning of all that, and that's probably the best way of explaining that book. I just didn't want to go too far down the rabbit hole without fully doing an entire review of the book. But I want to be able to break down the entire book for everyone and get some good. Um, Basically, I kind of want to pick from it, from a lot of things that I kind of want to pick from. You've got a lot of stuff that's kind of common sense with a lot of you folks that have already experienced quite a bit, and some of this stuff is just kind of, dude, I knew that. You don't have to tell me that. So you got to skip through some of that and get kind of to the meat and potatoes of what the purpose and how to apply it, kind of stuff. So that's that's basically what I like to do with some of these books. I take what I need and I throw the rest. So that's kind of, yeah. I already knew all that. They're just telling me stuff I already knew. Uh, but it's always interesting and fun to be able to put stuff like that together. I mean, like I've done before with the Cooper color code. The Cooper color code was an interesting thing to be able to break down and there's there's some other books on the survival mindset that I enjoyed, but to be able to sharpen skills like that and be able to detect, because left of bang goes into uh, being able to identify basically your,
Hi, Virginia.
what is it? It's, you're kind of profiling in a way. Uh, it's good and bad. I mean, but you're, it's going into reading body language and things like that to be able to detect a threat before it comes your way. So it goes through a lot of that stuff, and it kind of reminds me of, there's a book that I read for my kids' sake, right? I read some books that are pertaining that have kids involved, and there's one book that I like in particular that's the Team Honey Badger. It's raising your kids in a cowardly world. Um, how to that's it. How to raise your kids in a cowardly world. That is a really cool little book. It's a tiny little book and it doesn't take very long to read it. But there is some great information in there about strengthening. If you've got kids out there like us, we're looking for every way possible to be able to uh, put our kids in situations and let them solve the problem, and work with them. It's
No, I
kind
didn't, Matt. Sorry. I wish I was that good to tie dye this, but Bruce and Faye got me a couple.
it's kind of like today. My son Charlie had no idea what Daddy was doing, but uh, we we were moving traps. We were moving traps, and I was showing him
Who's
how
the author?
I can't remember the author. You can find it just by typing that in. Trust me.
Yeah.
How to raise your kids in a cowardly world. Team Honey Badger. It'll pop right up. Pew. But there you go. I see my friend left. All right, but
Traps.
yeah, traps. I was teaching my son about traps today. We were.
Hey, JC.
Um, I wasn't doing a video. I just wanted to be able to have some one-on-one time with my son. But I had a stack of traps in the back room. I had them laid out, and I was just doing some minor maintenance to them to make sure that they all function properly, and that if a critter lands in it, it goes bang, that type of thing. But we were going through. We get a lot of interesting critters in our neighborhood, and in my neighborhood, I don't want to just go running outside in the middle of the night with a shotgun and go
Oh,
blazing into the middle of the night.
that's not fun.
When I was in,
Unless it's 4th of July, then we can get away with it.
when I was out in South Carolina, I could just walk in the backyard and pop around off in the middle of the night, and nobody would even turn on their light. But here, I'm afraid that there might be a few lights to come on if you heard a 12 gauge go off in the middle of the night, or somebody with a Remington 700 goes boom. It could cause a stir. But but basically, I'm teaching him stuff and what it is and what it means and uh, the purpose of it. Poor innocent creatures, right? You've got creatures, and the reason why we have to take a creature's life for certain reasons, and being able to explain things like that. That's one thing that I wanted to be able to explain, and that you can catch things and let things go. You just need to remove them from the equation. You're moving this animal. You're not going to kill it. Oh, so we're not going to kill it. No, we're just going to move it. We're going to put it in a better home. That kind of thing. So having those kind of talks with him, and then you know guidance and um, BDRBA's email. Yep. Okay. Yeah, that's it. That's my email. Those of you always asking for my email, I always forget to post my email when I'm in the chat. I'm sorry. But for those of you, it's It's real simple. It's just it's right there. So if you can see the chat, just drop down and see the chat there, and you can see my email there. But if you go to the About section, it'll say for business inquiries, and that's usually people that are trying to contact me
Hi, Half
uh,
Crazy.
that
Thank you.
that have something they want to show me
Hope you're
or
doing
something
good.
like that. So, but you can click the for business inquiries. You can click that anytime,
Say hi to Wifey for me.
and my email is right there. It doesn't have to always be for business inquiries. Okay, a lot of that
Strictly
stuff
business.
strictly business, nah. But um, part of raising your kids in a cowardly world, though, is heck, it's the simplest task. It's just being there. I mean, literally, just being there when you're there. Taking that time and being like, well, because uh, what, you know, I'm letting him, carry the traps around and help me out, but what's what's he going to be like later on? He's going to remember that. He's going to remember the yin and the yang of things. There's uh, there's life and then there's death. I mean, when it comes to critters in my yard, I feed squirrels. I like seeing the squirrels in my front yard. I want them everywhere. I like watching them chase one another around the tree. That's my thing. Am I a weirdo? No, absolutely not. I'm keeping another food source nearby. I'm just giving them a little bit of corn every now and then and some bird seed. I like keeping birds around. This is my thing. It's something that I like. I enjoy seeing them, and the kids like seeing them. So it's a win-win. But there's the harmful critters, and then I have to explain to them that there are predators in the critter world that that want to hurt squirrel, or want to destroy this or destroy that. And those are the ones we have to stop. They're the bad ones, so we have to get rid of. But being able to take a time out reminded me of that book today. And it's been a while since I've read it, but that's the how to raise your kid in a how to raise your children in a cowardly world. But it reminded me of that book today, the kind of stuff that I was doing with the boy. So that was pretty interesting. He was really curious to know that sort of thing.
I think it's awesome that he'll just blurt out everything that he sees and observes. Like tonight, as I'm tucking him in, he just blurts out randomly, "Hey, mom, yes, they got all these cameras, and they watch you and record you, and they do all this stuff to make sure that the bad guys don't steal food out of the cafeteria." I'm like, "Oh, really?" Because it was never brought to my attention. They got surveillance all in the schools.
Yeah, he comes home and starts blurting out stuff that he sees at school, and he goes, "That's for to stop the bad guys or whatever." And we were observing some interesting things today. I was driving down the road, and I was looking at the street lights on the side of the road. You can't really pay attention to them much. You're just driving. Everyone's driving so fast,
Thank you, Adam.
but it's really high up. There's like four lights on a pole, and all the way on top of that is this gigantic UFO looking thing. And if you zoom in and look very close at it, it's covered in cameras. And there's one, um, there's one about every quarter mile. There's one of those cameras, and they're pointed in every single direction along the roadside. They're looking at everything in that vicinity. There's one on the left side of the road. There's one on the right side of the road, and they go. They're all the way down forever, but there's cameras, and it's all connected. It's got there's flipping antennas coming off of it and everything else. But you don't pay any attention to that because it's kind of hidden in plain
I
sight.
mean, it's like way
It's
up
way
high.
up high, but people don't even pay attention to it. They're just driving all around. I guess that's what you call sheeples, right? The sheeples are driving all over the place. They don't realize that they're being videotaped every direction at 360 degrees, like all the way around. Like, dude, if they're going to get a cheeseburger, from wherever,
Yeah.
there's one right above the cheeseburger place, and it's videoing that whole. I don't know how far out it videos.
Dude, we're like an enemy of the state with Will Smith times like 20 now with all the surveillance they keep putting up. And I mean, I see the um, electricity company out in their trucks, always adding stuff and working on the older equipment and stuff. So it's like, yay, more surveillance for
Mm-hmm.
your protection. Atlas wants you.
You're crazy. But
Join Atlas today.
we've got all these different traffic light systems out there being switched to this camera system and everything, and a lot of people will get these tickets and they won't even fight it, and it's like they mail you a picture of you running the red light or whatever, and you mail them a picture of some money back, and then they mail you a picture of some handcuffs, that kind of ordeal. But yeah, definitely, it's a weird, strange, unusual world that we're. The future is going to be rather unusual. You
I try
got
not to think about it. I really don't.
you got anything else you want to add to tonight?
Mm,
We're nearing the end here, so you
I'm
got
trying to
anything else
think.
you want to add?
Oh, well, I thought it was interesting. I learned about the goiter belt here in the Midwest. Um, basically, they found out the soil it has no iodine. They think one hypothesis is they think it's because of the glaciers running underneath has basically eroded it all out and has sucked all the minerals out of the dirt. So this happened, I think it was a little bit after World War II when the soldiers were coming back, and they noticed their necks were getting really big because they had hypothyroidism because they weren't getting enough iodine. And come to find out, it was just along that strip in the Midwest that they were eating, basically back then, yeah, you just ate pretty much the farmland and there was no more iodine. So they basically now have to put iodine when they farm. And so
Wow,
that's another thing to think about where you live. And
we did a whole topic on where you live type topics.
mhm,
Yeah, I
um,
remember that.
that's something that you have to think about too. Is if you're gardening, is you're gonna have to put iodine in your soil
Yep.
so you don't get that nice bullfrog neck.
Ooh, I don't want bullfrog neck.
Mm-mm.
I think my beard to hide though.
Yeah. So I don't know how you would really go about doing that. I'm sure they've got something like that in the garden section, or I don't know, maybe somebody on here
With
knows.
IR LEDs. I think Smoking Locust has it all figured out.
Thank you, Nina.
Uh, but yeah, night vision goggles, man. We're all gonna need them, and we're definitely gonna need some
Hi,
IR
Thomas.
lights all over our vehicles to be able to go outside. We can only drive at night for the most part,
Thank you, JC.
so they can't catch us. All right, well, it's the end of the show, and we usually go for about an hour each night. And
Smolo's on here. Hi, Smolo.
is anyone if anyone wants to do a little after show or something like that, speak now or forever hold your peace. Uh,
The laser pointers. I wonder if you could blind. I'm
you
sure you
can,
could, right?
you can. There's setups that you can do with lasers. If you can, basically, you can use different types of night vision goggles and figure out where cameras are filming you from, and you can at that point Uh, you can set up a laser pointed directly at it or IR light pointed directly at that and completely whack-a-doodle it and screw it
Or
up.
just snipe it and take it out. Thank you, Purple Bear.
Now not holding peace. What? Request permission to acknowledge it's Sippy's birthday. It's fine. I think everybody's already figured out that it's Sippy's
He
birthday.
doesn't know OPSEC.
Watch your mouth. Had a very interesting birthday day. will
Yes.
be at
Thank you, Small
Mikasa.
Block
Thank you,
Fueling.
Small
Didn't
Block
even know
Fueling.
you were in the room.
Boom.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Still, the kids really enjoyed the treats. I know I already told you, but I just want to say it again. They really enjoyed the freeze dried pudding. There was freeze dried pudding, and Ellie, little Ellie Ninja, could not get enough of that freeze dried chocolate pudding. I don't know if the banana was a big hit or not, but I
Think it
know
was.
of course anything
The
chocolate
also one.
and kids, they love that stuff. But I thought that was the craziest thing, how the kids just picked that stuff up and gobbled it up. It's crazy. But yeah, that was epic.
Thank you for all the birthday wishes. I really appreciate it, and
Yeah,
definitely
thank you.
I'm glad to spend my birthday with all y'all fine people, and I hope everybody's doing okay and staying sane in this crazy world.
All right, that concludes tonight's podcast. Uh, no place we'd rather be, and I want to thank each and every one of you for showing up tonight. God
Mm-hmm.
bless, and uh, you all take it easy.
Yep, we appreciate you. Until next week.
Until next week. Bum bum
Join Atlas
bum.
today.
Bum bum bum. Good night, everyone.